Welcome back, good people of St. Anne's. We are back with episode 6 of Omni Via. We did it, Father. 6 episodes. That's what we promised the people. We've delivered. Again, we'd love to keep going, I think, so let us know if that's an agreed statement. Father, since the last podcast, I've really been thinking a lot about kind of what you said when we talked about Harry Potter. And again, not necessarily about Harry Potter, but that the approach of the world in Harry Potter is that like, oh, if you need something, you just use magic to warp reality for your own need.
Yeah.
Whereas we as Christians, we really focus more on, God's grace is something that comes into my life and orients me more towards God. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I just have been reflecting on that. And I think as I approach the last week of Lent, and especially the Triduum, just kind of really trying to have that same mentality. And what it made me think of is the great quote by, I believe it's Augustine, maybe it's Aquinas, you can tell me, but work as if everything depends on you, pray as if everything depends on God. Aquinas or Augustine, do you know?
Maybe Augustine.
Yeah, anyway, those two. Yeah, great writers, a lot of good quotes. But I'd love just your maybe quick thoughts on that, like, because I think it is a tension, like, okay, so I'm supposed to work as if everything depends on me, but pray as if everything depends on God. And so kind of what is that balance for us as Catholics, especially as we approach the Triduum?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm not sure, in this like little response that I'll give to you. I think maybe just to maybe put a kind of an end to the Harry Potter versus magic versus God's supernatural activity or divine activity is that magic can sometimes change reality and like you said, like warp our experience. And God doesn't do that. God works through reality because he's the maker of it. He doesn't have to warp it.
Yeah.
And so that's a big difference. So to the point of the Triduum, which we're going to talk about in today's Omni Via, Luke, is no matter if we're there or not, it's going to go on.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And it's not like this, like, in other words, like the magic, like me showing up and like, praying in a certain way isn't going to like make God do something.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between like, having, a dog fly is like, I'm willing that. The entire, like the crux of Christianity is quite frankly to let God do something in us.
Yeah.
And that doesn't nullify prayer because we have to remember that God sees all of us at once. He sees us when we're 2, 12, and 72. And so he gives us the grace to pray, and pray changes us like very clearly, right? So even if we don't see it like answering the prayer we have, like he's hearing them and he's responding them for our greater sanctity.
Yeah, it's a great point.
And so I think, to the point of like, I wrote in my Anima Mea, last week, this whole notion of just put yourself in the position and then let God take care of it.
Yeah.
And we actually have that model in what we're going to do, right? So like at the end of it all, the apostles went to the tomb to see it empty.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like they went and prepared the Passover meal for the
Right.
So
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get more into it because there's something I want to build off, but we'll save it. So what's nice coming up with Palm Sunday and the Triduum, especially if you go to the Easter Vigil, we get a lot of scripture over the next week.
Yeah, 9 readings, folks. 9.
Buckle
up.
And Palm Sunday, bit of a long one.
Yeah.
Wear this inserts in your shoes for a little extra padding.
That's
so
what I
standing
do.
for a while.
Yeah.
But with that, for Ventus, I wanted to get into books of the Bible.
Yeah, good one. Okay.
So what are your top 7 books of the Bible? Again, no particular order. Go for it.
All right. So Matthew, Mark, Luke, John.
Okay, those top 4. That's pretty good.
The letters of John.
Okay.
The book of Daniel.
That's like 3 books though. So you're done. That's 7.
No.
Just kidding.
First John.
Okay.
Daniel.
Daniel's a good one.
Yeah, and I would say probably. Oh man. I do like the Psalms.
Psalms are good.
I mean,
it's a nice big book. There's a lot in there.
I pray them 5 times a day, and right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so.
Yeah, Office of Readings has Psalms,
that.
right?
Yeah, so office of readings, right?
Yeah.
So priest, religious, office of readings, morning prayer, one of the 3 daytime prayer hours, evening prayer, and the night prayer.
You don't do all 3 daytime prayers?
I do not.
Just
No.
kidding. That's a lot.
No, yeah.
That's great, yeah. So mostly New Testament, which makes sense.
Yeah. The 4 Gospels are,
They're really good. Okay, of the 4, do you have a favorite?
I do.
Okay.
It's really close,
Uh-huh.
but between Matthew and John. But I'd say Matthew just holds the winner because of the genealogy, and it really is Joseph's gospel.
Yeah.
And I'm a Joseph guy. So
that's awesome.
because of the role of Joseph in Matthew, that's the one. Ding, ding, ding. St. Matthew, tax collector.
Yeah, this might come as a shock to you, but I'm partial to Luke. Yeah, it's my favorite gospel. Yeah.
Surprising.
Yeah, I know it's hard to believe.
Surprising and self-serving, all in the same line.
Okay.
Whoa,
Father.
On with the triduum.
On with it. Awesome. Yeah, no, that's great. I really do love, especially the 9. If you make it to the Easter Vigil, the 9 readings, just beautiful to walk through. You get a little bit from kind of all the big parts of the Bible leading up to Jesus. Just beautiful.
Should we go after that right now?
What?
In case we forget about it. So like why 9?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, go.
I think that's important, right? Because we have these options in the church, right?
Mm-hmm.
So on one hand, it's like, okay, why do we have options? Why doesn't every mass just have 4? Or why doesn't we just have 5 or 9? Why are there options? Well, there are options because the church is, I don't know, is there another institution that moves into a person's life in such a wide way? Like we're in every country, every language. There's just nothing else like it, right? Like you think of, you think of like these mega industries, like something like Amazon, something like Google, right? But the difference is that those things don't have an effect on eternal life. And they don't make the claim to.
Maybe a negative effect, if we're being honest.
Sure. But they don't make a claim to.
Right.
And the church as an institution claims, we're actually the door, we're the vessel. Right. We're like the ship from port to port, from earth to heaven.
Yeah.
And so with that claim, you need to substantiate that. But that's the reason why we have options, is because we're everywhere. So we need to ebb and flow.
Right.
And the church has to be elastic in applying herself to peoples and traditions. In America, it's very feasible that in a comfortable church that's heated or cooled, that in a civil, developed area like Bismarck, we would listen to all 9, because it marks 9 events and truths of salvation history. So you don't have to do 9. Are you removing history? Of course you are. Right? It's like reading a history book, and do you get the point of the book? Absolutely. Did you read the book? Yes. But if you skipped, chapter 3 of a 10-chapter book, there's something in chapter 3 you don't know.
Right.
And I think that's a good way to go about it, is is it still Mass? Of course.
Of course.
Is one holier than the other? No, of course not. No. Is it a fuller expression? Well, of course it is, because you're reading the whole book.
Yeah. And
so at St. Anne's, we get it all.
Yep.
We're going to do it all.
If I'm not mistaken, too, a lot of them that we hit on kind of these big covenants, right? Like that's kind of these readings as we follow, like
God's promises.
Yeah, God's promises.
Broken.
Adam, Abraham, Noah.
Yeah, I like Abraham's a lot.
Yeah.
Abraham and Isaac.
Yeah, that's a great. Again, and that's the thing, is I think when you go and you hear all 9, and whether it's the first time or the 10th time or whatever, you're like, they're all stories. You're like, oh yeah, this is a great story. I remember this one, and I think again it highlights God's consistent, pursuit of humanity from the fall. Just this constant, like, okay, I'm still here, I'm still chasing you guys, and then we get to see it come to fulfillment in Christ. And again, like you said, you can do that 4 or 5 times, or you can do it 9 times, and I like hearing it. I need it 9 times.
Yeah, well said, yeah.
So, okay. Well, with that, I think it's, again, kind of coming back out of the Triduum into a mission, but within this as well. I found this great quote in Agentes, and just, again, talking about within mission, within the church's call to bring the gospel to all nations. It is to be desired that the liturgy of the Lenten and Paschal season, so Easter, should be restored in such a way as to dispose the hearts of the catechumens to celebrate the Easter mystery, at whose solemn ceremonies they are reborn through Christ and baptism. So again, Lenten and Easter seasons being the time that for the most part we bring new people into the church. But this Christian initiation in the catechumenate should not be taken of only by the catechist or priest, but by the entire community of the faithful, so that right from the outset, the catechumens may feel that they belong to the people of God. And since the life of the church is an apostolic one, the catechumens also should learn to cooperate wholeheartedly by the witness of their lives and by the profession of their faith in the spread of the gospel and in the building up of the church. So I found this quote, and the reason I share it today is because one of my favorite parts of the Triduum, whether it be Palm Sunday, the Easter Vigil, Easter Sunday, is just the amount of people that are brought into the faith, whether baptism, whether confirmation, First Communion, whatever it may be. For me, who was born and raised Catholic, I don't remember being baptized. I vaguely remember my First Communion. If I remember anything, it's more like the practicing with crackers and juice than it was like the actual day. And so for me to see people who have now made a conscious choice in their adult life or, as a teen to say, now this is the church I want to be a part of. I mean, it's just, my heart swells with like pride for the church that I belong to. So,
yeah, of course.
So for you, as a pastor, what would you say to anyone who, because every baptism makes the mass a little bit longer, right? So it can I think we kind of slip into like, okay, oh, another baptism. But what is our role as people who are already part of a church, as we see more people being added to our numbers? Like, what is our role, or what should that bring about in our heart?
I think, in terms of seeing, in terms of the missionary character, one, for me, it's like knowing that Sunday after Sunday, it's the same thing over and over again at Sunday Mass, that is working.
Yeah.
Right? And so we have them, right? We have them this year, and we have them every year. We have these amazing kind of radical stories of how people are encountering Christ in the church. Coming from next to nothing, right? So there's one thing if you have, and God works in both, and this is the beauty, right? Like, there's no more holiness in the man who's engaged to a Catholic, and since they began dating, she encouraged and maybe not requested, but said, I want my husband to be Catholic, right? And we all kinds of histories of how we force that. Okay, I guess it has its place, but then he finally is like, no, I mean, it's time. And she was the vessel. Then you also have, the unreligious who is really just swept up by God, and we need both in the church, right? Because we have both, even in the models of the apostles, right? Those that, like a St. John, who always seem to be faithful and maybe has some naive or ignorant tendencies, and then you have like Peter, who we I always smirk because we like expose his confession, Like, here's your vice. Let's just write about it and read it every Yeah. So, I mean, you guys get screens and you guys get music playing, and you're like worried about people hearing your sins. And in Divine Revelation, we have like his sin, We have it easy. We have it so easy. But I bring up the missionary character, and I'm glad you led it with this, because I really want to turn it around this year to people watching Omni Via. Let it be Christ's mission for you, and let him, like, he's going after you. And so I know it's the same thing, in many ways for those of us that have gone over and over again, but Holy Thursday and Good Friday and Holy Saturday, the psalmist says, right, the Lord makes things new. And so the disposition really isn't, and I think we're going to unpack this after the break, but the disposition isn't, I like the foot washing, so I'm glad they're doing it, or those things are all human and they're great.
Right.
But like, what's at the center of it?
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're going to get to in short order, Luke, is, okay, going to Holy Thursday, what is God going to do for me? And we can kind of talk about what his intention are, because it's not as invisible or abstract as we think, right? I mean, the saints are witnesses to this, and you and I are. Like, what's his goal, right? So Holy Thursday is great. Like, we better walk out of Mass with a greater appreciation for priests. I need them too. So that's not self-serving. I don't go to confession. I go to Father's Walk. Right? On my deathbed, I'm going to call a priest. And And furthermore, I know I don't have that large of a family, but without my brother priests, my nieces and nephews wouldn't be baptized. They wouldn't have been confirmed, right? My mom and dad wouldn't get the sacraments. So we all need priests. And after that hour and a half it's beautiful, the procession after Holy Thursday of the Eucharist.
Yeah.
I think I better love the Eucharist more than when this Mass started.
Yeah.
So, and I think we can say it about Good Friday, Holy Saturday, and Easter Sunday is like, what's at the center? Like, what is this liturgy? What is God going to do in it?
Yeah.
So I hope to unpack that.
Yeah, that was great. And I think too, just hopefully as we see all these new people brought into the church, to just remember that somewhere in that journey, somebody made an invitation. And I think to your point, maybe we could then reflect on okay, who in my life have I not extended an invitation to, or who in my life do I know is Catholic who maybe has, I haven't seen at Mass in a while. I think again, just hopefully it revitalizes our commitment to the beauty of the faith and what God is doing in our own lives, because again, here are some people who everything is new and fresh for them. And I think it can hopefully, refresh our love of the faith. And then I would just encourage anyone you see who is entering the church, just at some point, pull them aside and just hey, I would love to hear your story. Because I think for them, that's just, they want to tell it, right? This is very new and exciting for them. And it's good for us to be reminded of why people are attracted to the church. Because, for me, born and raised Catholic, I think, it can just become kind of going through the motions. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be anywhere else than the Catholic Church, but I don't always want to be in the church. And so to hear that, I think can be really, really good. And then one last kind of practical point, I know in my time working with a lot of students who have come to the faith, one thing that, they might be really, really in love with the faith, but they haven't learned how to live as a Catholic yet. So that's just, I think, another great thing that we can invite is, I had someone ask me recently, okay, so some Masses, there's 2 candles on the altar, and sometimes there's 6. What I don't because you don't necessarily learn that in OCIA, right? The correct answer is progressive solemnity, right? Normal day 1, solemnity is 6. So, but those little things of just kind of learning how to behave as a Catholic, I think is still there. So that's one way that the good people of St. Anne can take some people under their wing and say, let me teach you this is why we do these little things that maybe you weren't taught.
Yeah.
So. But let's unpack the Triduum after a break.
That's great.
The tradition of veiling crucifixes and statuary in churches on the 5th Sunday of Lent, traditionally called Passiontine, up through the evening of Good Friday into Holy Saturday, has its roots in the biblical narrative of the Passion itself. Upon the death of Jesus, the veil of the temple is torn in two. It represents Jesus' overcoming of evil with his own goodness and love.
Welcome back, everybody. Omni Via, episode 6, Luke. We're moving on, and I think there's good reason to believe that we'll keep going. Appreciate you tuning in to something, low level, and Luke and I both, of course, have a great love for the church and for our parish, St. Anne's, and so we hope whatever difference it's making and what God's using in this very simple setup is encouraging and deepening your faith and
Amen.
Your friendship in Him. Luke, you said something just at the end before we broke with regard to there was an invitation somewhere. Mm-hmm. So insightful.
Yeah.
So I just want to develop this a little bit more because I think people have in their heads when they hear that you saying something like, hey, why don't you come with me to this men's night, which is true. Mm-hmm. And we got to keep doing that, right? So just like the raw, actual, literal, hey, I'm inviting you to this event at the church. I'm inviting you to my home for dinner. Those are true. But I also want to flesh it out. And, and I was talking with one of the catechumens. So unbaptized, will be baptized, vigil in the night, Holy Saturday.
Awesome.
And it was several layers, but one of them was the use of Latin and Greek. And I say that, I want to offer that at Omni Via because it was in that he, in him, was thinking, I want to be a part of something old and well-founded.
Yeah.
And I know enough about my life that with these languages, this was not out of the box a week ago.
Right. Yeah.
Like this thing is tried and true.
Right. Yeah.
Right. It's like whatever. It's like your mug that's tried and true, right? Or your car, your truck, or
Yeah.
the dining room table that's had hundreds upon thousands of meals. Like does it look the best? Maybe not, but like it's tried and true.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to offer that because an invite can also be something as like, whoa, would that just happen?
Yeah.
He comes to St. Anne's and he hears us chanting that, and he reads it in the books, and he recognizes, I want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
God used that, right?
Yeah.
So, and it can happen like in so many ways.
Right. And I think, I mean, like you said too, I mean, it can be as simple as inviting them to an event. Sometimes it also might be as difficult as finally just saying like, hey, like, why aren't you Catholic? Right? It's a tough one to ask because you're like, well, what if they have a really good response and I don't know the answer? But a lot of people I've talked to too, that's what it took. Someone's just like, so what's holding you back from being Catholic? And they're
that's good.
Well, this. And you're like, that's it?
So,
or whatever.
So something distinct, I think this is one of those invites. It's an opportunity at least, right? So I have these kind of smirk moments during these times right? So people talk about family and getting together for meals and kids coming home. And so it's really ripe for emotion. So people think of religion, right? And so they come to actually visit a church and they see the veils, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we just veiled for Passiontide or images. So our statues or crucifixes all have violet linen over them or violet cloth. So that's another invite, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, why are we doing that?
Yeah.
So I think it'd be great, just in short, before we get to Good Friday and Holy Saturday, why we veil, Luke.
Yeah, it's a great question, and I'll jump into it. But so I went to adoration on Annunciation, and I was like, oh, okay, St. Anne's veiled. Yeah, that makes sense. And I was like, Mary's not. I was like, why isn't Mary veiled? And then we went to Mass, and my daughter, God bless her, she's thought out loud. She's like, why isn't Mary? Oh, right, because it's the Annunciation. I was like, oh, right, duh. So even I had to be re-invited to reflect on why we cover things, right? So yeah, why do we veil things? Partly because, and I think you said this earlier, right, God works through reality, and a tenet of the Catholic faith is grace builds on nature, right? So naturally, all those things that we see in the church aren't happening or haven't happened yet. Jesus hasn't died on the cross yet, right? On Holy Thursday, it's the Last Supper. And so it's just a helpful way for us who are human and have eyes and ears and, see things get to look at, I don't know, maybe one of the stained glass windows is the resurrection. And it's like, oh, I'm at Good Friday looking at the resurrection, So just the veiling is to help us truly just enter into what's happening in the liturgy right here, right now, to limit the distractions. And again, practically, when you kind of drift away and you see a veiled statue, you're like, why is that? Oh, right, because I'm supposed to be present in this moment. Right, boom, right back to the Mass.
And I think to how central our Lord is, right? And so I think it's a beautiful tradition, optional, of course. A lot of churches don't do it. Many churches do it.
I know a lot of people that will do it in their own homes. It's a tradition I've wanted to take on, but I forget and don't have enough purple cloth just laying around. But I think
we don't either.
Yeah, it's just, again, that can just be a really practical way to kind of bring Holy Week to your home is just, take down your crucifixes, maybe take down some of your Catholic artwork and just make it a little bit more bare, or just a little thing.
Or take down everything but the crucifix, right? There's a lot of things you can do.
Yeah.
So Good Friday, right? So Holy Thursday, Good Friday, that's the Triduum.
Yep.
Holy Saturday, it's just 3 days. It's really one long liturgy. Of course, the invite, here it is. I invite you to come to the Sacred Triduum at St. Anne's, Holy Thursday, April 2nd, 7:00 p.m. with the Mass of the Lord's Supper. And Friday the 3rd, our Good Friday Veneration of the Cross is at 3:00 p.m., the Hour of Mercy. And on Saturday, our Vigil in the Night, Holy Saturday Vigil, is at 8:00 p.m. at St. Anne's. That's April 4th. Mm-hmm. So the three together, I think that's helpful. Short order podcast, Luke, is to go through each one and maybe just name, the central symbol.
Yeah.
And then the mystery.
Love that. Yeah.
In the absence of a good natural metaphor. So Holy Thursday is about the priesthood, about the Holy Eucharist, and the symbolism of the 12 feet. Leo XIV just wrote in response to, we think, these kind of off-wagon cardinals who, I think I can say this, we don't have, right?
So wait, the church still has sinners in it?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure we haven't reached perfection.
No,
yet.
this is why we can get this. It's episode 6. So we can get a little political, can't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think there was this line. It got real public that Cardinal. I don't know his name, and I don't need to know his name because I don't want to risk charity necessarily. I never want to risk it, but there was a comment made by a highly influential church leader that in order for the church to go on, she must consider ordaining women.
Right.
Well, Leo, just this week, so the reservation of orders to men, and maybe some of us struggle with that in our hearts. So sensitivity, absolutely. But the symbolism of 12 men
right.
Brings us back without much thought to there was a Last Supper. Mm-hmm. There was an event willed by Jesus Christ. Yep. He willed it. Yeah. He hosted it. Mm-hmm. He planned it. And we get to read that. Yeah. We read it on Palm Sunday. We read it on Holy Thursday, where he gives himself to us in what it looks like bread, but it's not, and what looks like wine, but it's not. Yeah. And he made it very clear. So Leo XIV's point is this was a divine decision. Right. And so that's why we can't futz with it. Mm-hmm. Right. And so that's why as kind of my common theme for the Triduum, the deacons and I work really hard with Father Zwak, Father Gardner. We work really hard. We give ourselves over to what the church wants us to do, mm-hmm. and not be so optional about it, but just do what's before us. Yeah. Because I really believe it's the Lord's Triduum. Yes. And it's not mine to play with or to change because I don't like it or. Right. I really believe that what God gives to us in the Triduum in each day, so Holy Thursday, is He is going to deepen my faith in some way in the Eucharist, mm-hmm. and in my priesthood. Yeah. Good Friday, right? The veneration of the cross. It's a beautiful, beautiful day of the Passion, the long Gospel again. Yep. Right. And then what's beautiful, right, is the long. If you remember, there's the solemn intercessions. Yeah. So we chant 10 times the intercessions. And, talking about the church.
Kneel in between each one.
You got it, yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the beauty of, we pray for every segment of the world. Yeah. So it actually is very coherent, right? Because we have the Passion. We're praying from ourselves as Catholics to those that don't know religion. Yeah. And everybody in between, heads of state, political figures, leaders of the church, families, mm-hmm. that we remember that, okay, what we're going to do next, namely lift high the cross and kiss it, genuflect it, touch it. That cross died for everybody. Everybody. And the day before that, he made it very clear that this is how I want to be memorialized. And the Catholic Church still does that. Yeah. So I actually think there's a beautiful connection between Holy Thursday and Good Friday of our Catholicity. Yes. Yeah. Of being Catholic, not by way of pride, but I always come away with we're the only ones doing this. Yeah. We connected. Right, him giving us himself in the Eucharist, ordaining the 12 apostles, the first bishops, and then, but I need you guys to go get everybody else. Mm-hmm. Versus this group, because it was actually the Jewish thing to be go after that family. Right, right. Right, we're gonna go after this family. No. The church is we all have sins. Yeah. And we know that he died for us. Yeah. And so that's why we want to bring everyone into the church. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I think, right, that's what I love about being Catholic is, again, like you said, the Old Testament, the New Testament, the seen and the unseen. It's always, almost every subject you could bring up within the faith is always this idea of both and. Well, are we a body or are we a soul? Or both. And so that's why the Triduum is so packed full of both these spiritual realities, but then also these very practical. Yeah, we put a cross and we come and we venerate it and we kiss it. And I remember as a young kid, not my favorite part, but as I've grown, it's but it's an important part because, mm-hmm. again, if we believe everything else, all the other times we go to Mass, and when the Eucharist is raised, if we believe that is Jesus, then we have to believe all the other things that he did as well. And to your point, the things that he put in place. And it doesn't mean we have to love it and be excited about it. Hopefully, right? Hopefully our hearts get there, but we do need to participate. And I think, right, when
when we hear in the church like, oh, like full participation, and I think sometimes we think, oh yeah, that means I need to like sing or I need to like lector or no, full participation in the Mass is every Mass is a sacrifice. So our fullest participation in each Mass is to join into the sacrifice in whatever way that may be, whether it's maybe we're not in the best mood, or maybe it's hard for us to kneel, whatever it is, how are we uniting our sacrifice with the Lord's? And I think, again, the Triduum just gives us so many ways to really zone in on that idea.
Well, I think this is, you bring up a good point in terms of zoning in. Holy Saturday, so we can finish with that, Luke. It's going to be 2.5 hours long. And it's always the length, right? It's really, really long. And it is really long because there's so much to do. But this, as we begin outside with a fire, right? And so this idea that we really do come from the earth and understand that Easter is dated by way, right, of the very sun and our movement around the sun. How the Catholic Church uses what God put in creation, not like in our backyard. We're talking like the solar system.
Right.
And so that the world was dark with sin before the light of Christ. And that symbolism of holding a candle, listening to story after story.
Yeah.
But it goes back to this whole point of like the Triduum. I think sometimes like the Good Friday or especially Holy Saturday, there is a lot that can distract us.
Yeah.
And that's like, oh God, I have to get my mind back to the liturgy. To me, it's like watching a pro football game. Like when you're actually at a pro sport, there's entertainment everywhere, right? So there's screens, there's music, there's food, there's drink. And you're like, have I even watched the game?
Yeah.
And so that's, I think the point is to make sure that our hearts are, okay, like I have to get back to whatever it is, like the reading or the veneration of the cross or holding a candle. The church knows what she's doing. So that's what I give to people is whatever we're doing, that's what the Lord is going to use to enter into you.
Yeah.
And to the point, right? Like the overarching point, I think I said this last week, Luke, is the Triduum really is about Jesus reproducing his life in you. Because it's the 1-3 days like we get to do a lot.
Yeah.
Right? Like we are very active.
Yeah.
Right? We're in and out of our pews, we do different things, just not the same.
Mass has got, as I like to say, all the smells and bells.
You got it.
Tons of incense,
All
bells
of
are
them.
ringing everywhere.
Yeah, you got it. And it comes down, so that's a good point, right? Like it's not about like, well, I don't like the incense or I don't like kneeling so much. Like this is about somebody else's life, but that somebody else happened to be God.
Yeah.
And that and happened to open up heaven. And so for us who, we can all rally around, and I think this will be one of my homilies this week is, we can all rally around the table of I want to go to heaven, but then we got to rally around the instrument he used, and that was the last 3 days of his life on earth.
Yeah.
And the church elevates it in a really beautiful way.
Yeah. I mean, again, we could probably do 10 more podcasts on and get into all the nitty gritty, and but I do just kind of the final point that you made there is just that it really, if we see it, the Triduum truly as an invitation from the King of the world to come and fast and feast with him, I think it just changes the whole perspective of it. Because it's not just this kind of routine that we do, and it's, we like parts of it, we don't like parts of it. But when you get invited to someone else's house and you're excited to go, like, and all their new unique little traditions, or we went over to someone's house and they pray the Angelus before the meal. It's like, that's not something we do every. But it was great because we got to do it with them. And so if we have that same perspective of like, oh yeah, like we got invited to go to someone's house that we've really wanted to get to know better. And so then you're not gonna reflect too much on like, well, I did things really weird. It's like you're like, that was different, that was interesting. But again, like you said, but it's not just someone that we know. It's literally the God, King of the universe, right? Creator of my soul.
Yeah, right.
Who, if he for 1 second stopped thinking about me, if I'm gone, right? So if we truly see it as an invitation, and again, this is just people may have noticed I really like to wear a suit and a bow tie every Sunday Mass. And people always ask like, why? And it's like, to me, I don't wear that to anything else. Because to me, if the king invites you to dinner, you wear your best.
Yeah.
So that's just my own mantra. I'm not telling anybody what to wear for Mass, but I think it helps me come to Mass with a different mindset because I'm dressing in a way that I don't dress for anything else. And so that would be just kind of my final encouragement is, come to the Triduum like it's something like you don't come to anything else.
I like that.
Because it is, in my opinion, the highest and most important thing you will do all year is come to these next, 3 liturgies. 4 if you double up, if you go Easter Vigil, Easter morning, which I like to do. It's great. So
break time.
Let's do it.
The practical application in churches of the biblical truth of the veil being torn in two upon our Lord's death came in the 9th century when the German church would elevate a white cloth in front of the altar all throughout Lent. It would teach those who were illiterate that Lent was here and a time for penance. It would remind all of the faithful of the hiddenness of God in the Holy Eucharist. When we see the linen veils, may we too be reminded of the hiddenness of God in the Eucharist.
All right, welcome back. We're almost to Father's favorite segment, but I think you want to throw a quick plug in first.
Yeah, so the plug, good invite here for Holy Thursday night. So I hope to see you at the Mass. It starts at 7 o'clock p.m. Following Mass, the beautiful ritual of the procession to the altar of repose. And at the altar of repose, this year we're going with Mary, because there's such a proximity to the Annunciation this year. And Joseph had it last year, so we're going to do the altar of repose at Mary's altar, St. Mary's altar in the northwest corner. That'll go with solemnity, so candles, flowers everywhere like the tomb, until midnight. And then the church asks us that at midnight, 12 a.m., the new day, goes into Good Friday. We shut everything down. But we are going to keep the church open for vigil and, really to carry on the agony and to carry on, can we stay awake with them for an hour? And so that's 12 a.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. I'd love to invite any one of you, contact the parish office or just talk to me directly if you want to be an hour watcher. I'm going to make some invites again. But we want to get through those night hours to get to church opens at 5:36. So in terms of people being around it, but just for the sake of safety and at the end of the day to keep the Lord company. So if you're wanting to do something maybe high or like really something different, you and your spouse or you and a couple of buddies or kids can come in middle of the night and just sit quietly and it's not about doing nothing. It's about God doing everything for you. So,
great plug. Yeah,
Next.
I love spending a little time in at night. Yeah. What I always like to say though is, it's like, okay, Jesus asked the disciples to spend 1 hour. I've done at least 1 hour in my lifetime, right? So am I good, Father?
No.
Oh, okay, great. Then go on Thursday night because we need to keep over and over and over and over again. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Well, I'm not because, filters, music, air horn, it's all ready to go.
Got it.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Got to get to the right list. Let's start that over. 3, 2, 1. Do you currently own any stuffed animals?
No.
Would you rather lose all your hair or gain 50% more hair?
50% more hair.
Okay.
I'm balding right here.
Yeah, but I mean, it's 50% more hair wherever there's hair.
No.
That's the question.
I want to go bald.
Okay, Bob, just gone. When people stand up for a standing ovation, are you usually one of the early people right away, or usually kind of one of the last ones?
They're far overused, so I'm one of the last ones.
I agree. I'm with you.
They're way
I'm
overused.
with you.
Yeah.
Do you typically travel light or pack extra?
Pack extra.
Yeah, me too. What's your ideal outside temperature?
82.
Oh, on the warm side. Okay. What's your favorite carb? Bread, pasta, rice, or potatoes?
Rice.
What kind of rice? How do you like it?
I like risotto.
Okay.
Cheesy, goopy,
Yeah.
heavy rice.
Are tomatoes a fruit or a vegetable?
Fruit.
How many pull-ups can you do in a row?
On a good day, 3.5.
Okay, yeah, I'm right around that.
I weigh a lot.
They're tough.
Too heavy.
Did you have any nicknames growing up?
I did. The big.
And I guess it doesn't say and what were they, but what was it?
Yeah, my family called me, those aunts, uncles, grandmas, and grandmas called me Craig's.
Craig's?
Just put an S on it. And then, high school, college was Hoax.
Hoax, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
Hoax.
All right, and then last one. What is your favorite inspiring quote or saying? Kind of have like a quote that you live by or...
Yeah, there's probably a few of them. But as I taught the elementary school students, Mater mea fiducia mea, my mother, my confidence, just to remind me of. And there's a fittingness to it being at Anne.
Yeah.
St. Anne's is that Mary's confidence would have come from somewhere.
Yeah.
So Mater mea fiducia mea, my mother, my confidence. And it kind of rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
And a 3-year-old can say it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, no, I mean, I always, as you know, with half the segments of the podcast, I like a little Latin. It's just nice, a little something. Like
little something.
Like you said, I mean, going back, like, I also really like that the church is ever ancient and ever new, right? It just, so anytime I can put something in Latin, it just kind of, I don't know, it just reminds me of like, hey, the saints might have actually wrote this out, you know? So I just love that. So, you know, if you don't have a mantra or maybe you do, get on Google Translate it into Latin. It'll make it way better.
Tattoo it. Ooh, that's another podcast.
Oh.
Tattoos.
Yep.
I think that's been overdone. They're like standing ovations are overused.
Yep.
That tattoo discussion's baked crisp.
Yep.
But maybe we can tackle it.
Yeah,
For
I'll
Pentecost.
I have a tattoo. Teaser for episode 17.
See you.
All right. Well, with that, good people of St. Anne, we really pray and hope that you'll have a great last week of Lent and a good Triduum, and we hope to see you at all the different liturgies. And until then, see you next time. All right. We did it. I mean, will we?